I think somewhere here is a good friend of mine and the program. Where is Anita Busch? Anita Busch suffered horrible tragedy and has been one of the most active proponents of compensation going to victims. She has been sort of my gadfly. Every time I make a mistake, she reminds me about the mistake I made. She is extremely knowledgeable. Now, Anita, we only have a limited amount of time, but I wanted to pay tribute by asking you if you have any question or opening comment before we throw it open. Can we have the mic for Anita right here? Here it is, Anita, right here. Anita Busch from Aurora, Colorado.
Yeah, come up with me. Oh, no, that's all right. Thank you, Ken. We flew in cross country last night to be here. My name is Anita Busch, as you've heard. My cousin Michaela was killed in the Aurora Theater along with 11 others, and 70 injured and hundreds impacted inside the theater. This is Bob Weiss. He flew in from Los Angeles, Santa Barbara. His daughter Veronica was killed in the mass shooting in Santa Barbara. This is Jennifer Longdon. She flew in from Phoenix to be here today. And Jennifer and her fiance, David, were shot in 2004 in Phoenix, and she lives with a spinal cord injury. First of all, we wanted to say we're very sorry for the agony that everybody is suffering, for all the trauma and the devastation. We, unfortunately, can relate all too well for what you have been through and what you are continuing to go through. Please know that you're not alone. We are here with you and for you. We will be afterwards over to the left in the survivor room for any questions that you might have, or if you want to talk or just need a hug. We know what it's like. After the shooting at the nightclub, our families from all over this country, parents and families of the deceased and the wounded and those who survived, from 9/11, Columbine, Virginia Tech, Northern Illinois University, Tucson, Aurora, Oak Creek Sikh Temple, Newtown, Alturas, California, Santa Barbara, and Roseburg, and now San Bernardino families have joined us. Behind the scenes, we swung into action to protect you, our Orlando family. We needed to make sure that what happened to all of us over 17 years, when we were at our most vulnerable, did not happen to you. And what we mean by that is that when donations were collected from around the world, it never made it directly to the victims and the families, or we had to fight to try to get it to people who were injured and in wheelchairs and with head injuries and those who survived. We asked the National Center for Victims of Crime to start the National Compassion Fund, all of us, to make sure that 100% of every penny donated would go directly to you, not to nonprofits, not to overhead, not to the city, not to salaries, but to where donors intended it to go, to you. Without Nadine Smith and others at Equality Florida who started the GoFundMe account, I'm sure you all remember that, started up right away, what we suffered would have been repeated here in Orlando. Equality Florida wanted to make sure that 100% of every dime collected was going to you. They contacted the National Center's Jeff Dion and Jeff and Mai Fernandez and the board at the National Center for Victims of Crime agreed to open a National Compassion Fund for Orlando. We appreciate you doing so much, you have no idea. After that, our parents and families of those murdered, physically wounded, and those who survived. Sorry, I had to write this down. Those who survived from the shooting from Aurora, Virginia Tech, Northern Illinois University, Oak Creek Sikh Temple, Santa Barbara, and Newtown flew down here to Orlando to meet not only with the press but with city officials, asking all to follow the lead of the National Compassion Fund. And we applaud the mayor and his office and his staff who quickly agreed to change the mission statement of OneOrlando so that 100% of the donations would go to you instead of nonprofits. This process that you've heard about from Ken is pure intentioned. It's fully transparent. And we are very, very thankful that it exists for you. We pray that one day very soon, that the National Compassion Fund, the only victim-based fund that we know about in this country, is implemented automatically after a mass tragedy as part of a city and state's emergency response, so victims are put first, and donor intent from generous Americans and all over the world, from people who want to help victims, that intent is fully realized, and we end the re-victimization of those who suffer most. Victims of gun violence, take care of each other. We fight for each other because we are one family. And finally, we wanted to thank Ken, whose intentions we fully trust. Families across the country are truly, truly grateful for you, Ken. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. You want to say something? Very quick.
I'll come up. Do it very quickly. I only have about a few. Here's my notes. It's a real honor to be here among you. I've been down the road through the journey. I'm in the journey just a little further down the road than you. It's a lifetime journey. To the parents, as a parent myself, welcome to the club that no one wants to be a member of. There's some really good people here. One of those people told me that, and I remembered this, I wanted to share it with you. One of the tough things about particularly being a parent, when a person loses their parents, they lose a big part of their past. When a parent loses a child, they lose their future, a big part of it. It's going to be tough. It's going to go on. I'm going to be here after the meeting, after Ken's finished up with the questions. I would very much like to meet any and all of you, especially other parents. UC Santa Barbara, 7 were killed, 7 students, 14 people seriously injured. The killer used knives, he ran over people with his car, and he shot and killed 6 people before killing himself. Donations came flying in, not at the level you're accustomed to, but a couple million. we survivors got zero. So far, 2 years into this, it's cost my family $250,000. So what Ken and the organization is doing here is very important, because there are vultures out there who know how to swoop in and take money that they don't deserve. They do it for a living. They rip people like us off. Just one final note related to money. I suffer from PTSD. It's very emotional for me to be here. More so than I expected. I'll try to keep it together. I only have about 30 more seconds to talk. If you have something like PTSD, if you are unable, like me, to work, I haven't worked in a year, I may never work again. Another source of support, which I didn't learn about until just a month ago, is disability from the Social Security. If you are unable to work because how you were affected, PTSD is my situation, go to the Social Security Department and apply for disability. For my family, it will be about $25,000 a year, but that's a lot of money considering we didn't get a dime from the millions that were raised up in Santa Barbara. And again, thank you. I hope to meet you and hug you.
Just quickly, please. We have limited time.
So unfortunately, you've all joined our family, and it grows by 321 people every single day. What I want you to know is there's going to come a day when you realize you haven't cried in the last 24 hours, and that's going to make you cry. And there's going to come a time when you can't remember the last night you woke up screaming. It will happen, I promise. You just got to get through this 1 minute at a time, one page at a time of these reams and reams and reams of paper that are coming at you. I can't tell you it gets better, but it does get easier to manage. And you now have family here for you. And I hope you'll take advantage of that. And real quick, further to Bob, you have a Center for Independent Living here, and all of you who are now disabled as a result of this shooting need to get to know about them. And I hope you'll come and talk to us after this. Thank you.
Thank you all.